Good morning, and we're back. A new week, and it's raining. Nice cold rain here in the fall. It's a pool day today, so we're going to be doing some back exercises, bicep exercises, things in that vein. Got a week of this under our belt at this point, so we've more or less felt out the exercises, and I think we've found kind of where we want the weights to start, at least on the first set or two. So still maybe dialing those in. We'll see. 1 week is certainly not indicative of what that weight might be. It might have been a bit of a slow week last week, or rather a heavier week for me last week. It may have been a bit of a harder week for me last week just due to the fact that I was getting over that sickness. So I might not have had as high of a capacity as I may today. We'll see. I'm rested, I'm fed, I'm feeling great and recovered, and we're going to get right into this. WD-40 makes the world go round. Did set already. A warm up. That's better. And the cables are, they get to that point about once a month. Maybe even less than that. Or they just need a little bit of extra care. Go in there, give them a spritz, make them feel loved, and then we can get on with the rest of our warm-up. But just getting the blood flowing into that region is certainly important to me. So getting a moderate weight on there, I started with about a little bit more than 50% of what my working weight's going to do, just to start feeling these out. Really, how do my elbows feel, wrists, shoulders, just everything that's moving in that movement, just letting it all start to come alive here. It's still 5 in the morning, so the body's barely been awake for an hour. Alright, we're going to be getting here into our second set. That first one felt pretty good. I was able to really rip it back and with control, a lot of control, and kind of give it that slight hold there at the bottom that I like to feel. So we'll see how the second one holds up here. If we can keep the weight the same for the remainder of the sets, or just one more after that, or if we're going to have to lower it a little bit to really just pull out everything we got today. Alright, that felt pretty darn good too. We were getting a good stretch and a good pull. Wasn't compromising on anything. I think with this last set, we're just going to be super mindful of, pulling that elbow back. That's really the key with these movements is, stop imagining that you're trying to just move your hand from here to here. Getting that elbow, all the way up and really pulling the elbow back. That's the difference that you'll really make when you're progressing through these exercises with time and experience, is just realizing and learning what that elbow all the way back feels like as compared to just pulling that hand back, and how that engages the lats, works the back as a whole, and gets you more out of these pulling exercises. All right, time for some RDLs. My back is starting to get warmed up, but with these types of hinge movements, I really don't like to assume that everything's completely warmed up. So I'll end up taking a little bit more time here and slowly add on the weight. Again though, still starting probably with about at least 50% of what I'm gonna do in my working sets. Oh, damn. I was gonna try and do some shrugs, kind of as a superset there at the end, but my grip failed. Knowing that my grip failed, and I'm only doing one more set of these, I'm gonna throw on the wrist wraps to try to get as much out of this last set as we can. That was good. Time for some chest supported rows. These have, ever since I bought this attachment, these have really become one of my favorite things to do. Being able to support the chest like that, you know, I would cobble it up here on this bench, and it was never nearly as stable or as good, but now it's fantastic. And the only thing that I don't like is having to make my dumbbells every time I want to use them. It's not the end of the world. It only takes probably 2 minutes, 2 or 3 minutes. But what I don't like is having to up the weights in between the sets. I've got some ideas on how to kind of fabricate something a little bit quicker here. I'm essentially gonna epoxy a bunch of very strong magnets to some plates I buy, some used plates, and turn them into magnet plates that I can quickly throw on. I tried out this experiment with some magnets that I made with epoxy set into wood, and that worked, except for when the epoxy didn't really hold the magnet. I think that was for a couple different reasons. I really want to try it without the wooden risers, basically, is what they became. I'd really love to try putting together these magnets just directly into some change plates, basically. You know, if I can do that for a set of 10s, 5s, and 2.5s, that's really gonna set me. Might even do some 1.25s if I can find them at the used gym stuff store. But that would give me, you know, 20 plus pounds of maneuverability between my sets, which is, that's got to be more than enough. You know, if I'm 20 pounds outside of dialed in, I got some bigger things to worry about. Maybe I just need to focus a little bit more. But I think 20 pounds in between my sets should really do me well and give me the ability to set these maybe a little higher for my starting reps, so that when I get to that last set, I'm not so over encumbered that I really can't put in quality reps for a good amount of reps, for that matter. I think the home gym has truly been a lesson in patience and creativity. I've mentioned before, perhaps, that I am lucky to have the things that I have. I've worked pretty hard to get these things, slowly over time, a number of years at this point. One, to really understand, what do I need? Do I actually need that thing? And then two, to be able to buy high quality products, not things that are just gonna break and cheap out. There's very few things that I'm displeased with purchasing in the home gym. There's a couple things maybe I don't use as much, or maybe I bought one version and then I ended up wanting something slightly different in the long run. But overall, everything's been a good purchase, especially these dumbbells. And the creativity that I've been able to find in designing solutions for some of my common problems has been quite a journey and pretty fun. These magnet weights are probably on my next adventure. Like I said, I did version 1 with the wooden blocks, didn't work well, or as well as I wanted at least. So we'll give it another go with some magnets permanently set into some weights. We've talked before about how the gym really can be a great foundation for learning how to deal with so many challenges that come to us during life. And I think it's in these moments that I continue to reaffirm just how true that is. There's not necessarily a playbook or bulletproof solution to some of the obstacles that I face in the gym that might be stifling me from truly realizing my goal or achieving my goal or working as optimally and efficiently as possible, which is what I'm always striving to do in and out of the gym. If I can put some creative thinking behind it, I can usually come up with a pretty good, robust, and safe solution that's going to allow me to achieve whatever the desired outcome might be. You know, if you take that same approach to things outside the gym, that mindset of how anything can be a problem we can solve, nothing's going to stop you. You've just got to know where to look to accumulate the knowledge to help you solve that problem. And those could be people to talk to, resources to read and digest, or watch even on YouTube. And if you can figure those things out, you can approach just about any problem, and the determination that you find yourself having in the gym will always flow over into the real world. All right, did a little extra there. You know, this is again where I need to get started on those magnet weights sooner rather than later. These are set at 70 pounds each right now. Probably would have been good to start at 75, maybe even 80. But I just did 2 extra reps there in the end, and that definitely took it all the way to RPE 10 or 11 even. Oh, that was good. All right, another one down in the books. Time to clean up a little bit here and reflect. It was a really good workout overall. I think at the end of the day, I would have liked maybe just a little bit more work and effort on the RDLs. You know, in the moment, they felt pretty tough. But even though in the moment they felt, you know, kind of tough and like I was really straining, I don't know, it still feels like there may have been more there to give for my lower back, my posterior chain. I've struggled with those for a long time, just because of the way I've injured my lower back before. I think mentally I still have a blocker, so to speak, to not get hurt again. Even though I'm being safe and I'm being cautious and I know I'm doing everything in quite the safe manner, I still end up being, I'm certainly being maybe more cautious than I need to be and want to be. And that might be holding me back there. But I think my form looked pretty good on those. Let me know if you disagree. I would love that feedback. It's one thing you certainly don't get enough of in a home gym, is other people giving you feedback, letting you know what they think about the work you put in. You really do got to seek it out for yourself and then actually listen to it as well. That's something a lot of people don't really want to do. I don't know why. I don't really know exactly what it is that makes people so afraid in this day and age to get or even to give feedback sometimes. How could we all possibly progress if we're not willing to get that feedback and take that feedback, perhaps more importantly? Maybe that's just something that's been worked into me over the years as I've done various athletic endeavors. I've always been very competitive. Maybe that's really the way that I realize that I can only get better, is if I either seek that feedback out and or accept it once it's provided. Maybe some of us are just built a little bit differently, and maybe some people truly are just not equipped to take that kind of feedback. But I think once you have a good experience with feedback and realize that it's okay to make mistakes, that everybody makes mistakes, and that not one person is ever going to go without making a mistake, it makes things a lot easier to handle in your day-to-day life. I hope you can find a way to get the feedback you need to be better at whatever it is you're working on. And I hope you have a good rest of your day. We'll see you on the next workout.